Thank you, David, and good morning, everyone. It's truly amazing to see the continued rise of tech prominence in this city. The world is taking notice. And it is in this vein that I am so proud to bring the Chief Digital Officer Summit to this great city and country. And as a global partner to the Chief Digital Officer Club at Summit, it gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you. I had the good fortune, as David alluded to participate in one of the earliest summits held at the Time Warner Center in New York at CNN back in the spring of 2014. I knew that David was on to something, and that his instincts surrounding the emerging importance of the CDO role matched my own observations. As far back as 2010, David Matheson was beginning to see that CDO hires were ramping up dramatically and garnering lucrative salaries at some of the world's most prestigious organizations. At Rosenzweig and Company, we help clients design and build world-class teams. And our research also detected that the role of CDO was growing in importance. For CDOs, the data was on the wall, so to speak. David and I may have been on separate paths back then, but our research and observations were revealing similar things. In companies that were forward-thinking, the CDO title was beginning to join the ranks of other C-suite stalwarts, including CFO and CMO and CIO. But few were addressing the rapid growth and rising importance of the new office of the CDO. Indeed, naysayers were prevalent as well. A prominent publication went so far as to tell readers to, quote unquote, say goodbye to the Chief Digital Officer. The reasoning was that the CDO steps on too many toes: Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Information Officer, Chief Operating Officer, and so on. But our research told us the opposite story. Because the CDO's role flows through so many veins, the office can be the digital lifeblood of the company. Let's step back to December 2011, in what proved to be a watershed moment at the Harvard Club in New York City. After a year of extensive research on the topic, David presented his findings to an exclusive meeting of leading chief human resource officers and managers. He opened a lot of eyes and put the two of us in the same orbit once and for all. By 2013, David was publishing his findings in the Chief Digital Officer Talent Map, the first ever report dedicated to CDOs. The report covered key demographic data: new hires, compensation, career path, reporting structures, and open jobs. He organized the first CDO summit in New York that year too. Since that time, Chief Digital Officer hires has doubled every year and quintupled last year alone. There are currently thousands of people worldwide who hold these roles. And as David's research shows, the CDO role, be it digital or data, is increasingly becoming a path to the CEO role. So why might this be the case? And why am I, as one who tries to help clients assemble high-performing teams, so interested in this phenomenon? Well, from my perspective, having a strong player in the CDO role is critical to a company's risk management and competitiveness. At a minimum, every CEO needs to understand both the value and the risks associated with digital and data. One of the most important aspects of a CEO's job is to protect the company's brand and reputation. We've all seen that issues around privacy, for example, can be a brand eater. Recall Target 3 years ago. A serious breach in data security not only brought Target negative publicity, but had a measurable impact on their sales, profitability, and stock price. It absolutely contributed to its CEO exiting the executive suite at the time. The recent Equifax breach is another example. At least 143 million people, mostly in the United States, were affected when the giant credit reporting agency was hacked. Within a matter of days, their share price tumbled. Among other things, the hackers gained access to individual Social Security numbers. Soon afterwards, Equifax's CEO was retired. Yahoo admitted recently that a breach previously reported was larger than actually revealed. 3 billion customers were compromised. And then there's last year's US election. All the facts are not yet clear, but we know foreign agents tapped into the anger, passion, and misinformation that was being broadcast across social media platforms to possibly tilt the election and reshape American politics. If the world's most powerful country can fall prey to digital attacks, so can any corporation. Data is gold and a revenue generator for marketers, but dangerous when there are breaches and manipulations. But there is, of course, tremendous upside with the proper use of big data. If done right, it is a great tool for sales and marketing and branding and ultimately growth. I am, for example, an investor and advisor in an app called Turnstile Live. It allows musicians and artists and sports organizations to know with great detail who is sitting in the seats at their live events. Our clients have found the data we've been able to glean for them extremely valuable. In fact, one of our sports team organization clients recently completely rebranded their team, including their name, based on the data we were able to provide to them. What excites me most about the CDO role is that it resides in a unique place within organizations, at the nexus between marketing and technology. Peter Drucker was ahead of his time when he said, the convergence of the only two functions that really matter in business are innovation and marketing. Drucker could have been describing the CDO role decades before it existed. But what characteristics do I look for when seeking candidates on behalf of clients for these forward-thinking roles? Well, obviously, good technical skills are important. That's really table stakes. But I also look for a proven ability to be strategic, to see the big picture. The problem with data, for example, is you can get so lost in the details, in the minutia, that you miss the larger opportunity. I also listen to see if candidates are unduly dismissive of what has come before. They need to show themselves as team players, not simply digital prophets who have no interest in the legacy and history of a business. Secondly, I want to sense that they will place an equal value on leveraging and monetizing data as they do on privacy and governance and security. Individuals who demonstrate that balance are strong candidates. And how does a CDO become a CEO? Well, I would say by starting to acquire the requisite skills beforehand. Executives on the path to CEO talk with colleagues outside their functional areas of responsibility. They respect the success and heritage of a company, even as they are propelling change. They attend conferences or programs aimed at C-suite executives. And they attend conferences like these. As I said at the outset, I'm very pleased to serve as your host for what will be a very exciting and informative day. I'm looking forward to listening to our speakers and panelists. And I'll be back up at the end of the day to make a few closing remarks. Thank you.